Hello everyone, I'm Matt of Matt Man's Reviews, and today we're going to be reviewing Uncanny X-Men #1 by Gail, Simone, and David Marquez. I have this variant cover by David Marquez, and I'm a little late on this review, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyway because I did love this issue. Like I said, we have Gail Simone as the writer, we have David Marquez as the artist, we have Matthew Wilson on the colors, and Clayton Cowles on the letters. So we start our story off here in Westchester, formerly the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. We have this woman who goes by the name Warden Ellis, which is possibly a reference to the comic book writer Warren Ellis that Gail Simone might sort of be throwing a little shade towards, but you know, a little deserved. She's coming in here with this anti-mutant organization, and they are taking over Xavier's school. They're remodeling it. They're shutting everything down. They're going to tear down the walls, and we see Kitty Pryde's old bedroom. We've got her costume there. We've got like a Lockheed stuffed toy right there, which I do think that of all the characters to sort of show their bedroom, you know, Kitty Pryde makes a lot of sense. One, because she's like the teen POV character of the Claremont run. She, as a Jewish character, there's a lot of symbolism with it having be her room that they show here to talk about taking other people's valuables and possessions. So I do think that was probably done on purpose by Simone and Marquez. And then she also has this guy named Philip, who's her assistant. We don't really know who he is over here. He's disabled, but we don't exactly know who this Philip guy is, but I assume that there's going to be more to his story. We see Warden Ellis walk through Cerebro and walk through the facilities, and we see her get to this mysterious Prisoner X. And I'm sure that Prisoner X is going to be a very important character, but in this issue, we are still left to wonder who exactly this Prisoner X is. And then after that, we get the credits page, where we get the cast of Rogue, Gambit, Wolverine, and Nightcrawler, who are going to be our main characters for this issue. And then next page, we are at Mexico City. We're in Mexico City with Wolverine, who's meeting with his old friend Miguel, and Miguel is on his deathbed. He's on his deathbed, and they're talking about death and about how Wolverine won this bet of not dying first, and then Logan is like, "But I did die," and so we're already getting these like interesting themes about life and death and rebirth, because Wolverine, of course, came back from the dead, which is a part of what they talk about in this conversation, and about what all that means. Then in the next page, we are still in Mexico, in Teotihuacan, which is, I think, in San Juan. I think that's where that is. Which was not created by the Aztecs, but it was named by the Aztecs. I did some research. We're not exactly sure who created Teotihuacan, but historians and researchers have hypothesized that it was either the Toltecs or the Totonacs, and it was the largest urban center in Mesoamerica before the Aztecs, and it was probably just chosen to have a good setting, to have an interesting setting. But I do wonder, having done some research in Teotihuacan, if perhaps it was supposed to be almost analogous to the fall of Krakoa and the fall of Krakoan civilization, if it was like showing this fallen civilization of Teotihuacan that was fallen even before the Aztecs to sort of, I don't know necessarily if it was supposed to comment on Krakoa and about how, like, see how fallen civilizations can still be important and relevant, or if it was just thematics. But I do wonder if Gail's choice, or perhaps Marquez's choice, of Teotihuacan as a setting was done on purpose as a reference to Krakoa. Also on this page, of course, we see Rogue and Gambit show up, and we get Rogue, Gambit, and Wolverine meeting up, probably for the first time since Krakoa. We see Logan and Rogue share an embrace here, where according to Rogue's narration, it sounds like Logan is crying, which is, of course, not something we usually see Logan do. So this here is a powerful scene, I feel like, with beautiful art. I haven't commented on the art, but, like, there's much better to come. But, like, already look at how good Marquez is, and Wilson, right? And Wilson's colors, great. I'm really enjoying the art in this book. Probably my favorite art of the fall, of the From the Ashes books. And then this next page, we get this cool dragon who really reminds me of, how do you pronounce it? Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl, I think is how you pronounce it. It was a serpent god in the Aztec religion. This is not who that is. This is Saturag, who is a Thor character, a Thor and Avengers character, but he's got, like, this little Quetzalcoatl Aztec makeover, which I think looks really cool. And the X-Men have arrived to remove Saturag from this monument, hopefully without causing a lot of destruction, but that's what they're here to do. And Rogue accidentally awakens Saturag, and then this is a cool page to me. We've got this: Saturag wakes up, and he says, "You insignificant gnats dare to awaken Saturag, the god snake. I'll make a paste of you and cook your heads for supper." So we've got this cool page right here. Like I said, I love Marquez's art. Then we've got some good action sequences right here. Look at that. We've got some real good action sequences right here. I love whenever Rogue does this pose. It reminds me of, like, that Jim Lee panel from X-Men 1. I love whenever she does this, like, classic flying forward with her fist clenched like that. I love when she does that. But Saturag is talking. He talks about how he can see into their hearts, and he calls each member of the X-Men on this team. He calls Gambit the thief, Wolverine the hunter, and Rogue the scared little girl, which I'm figuring are going to be, like, important. I feel like that's going to be relevant to the whole run, but we'll see. Definitely relevant to this issue, at least for Rogue, because she attacks Saturag, and she has some good dialogue here. She says, "You were right about the lost bit, sugar, but frightened, you got the wrong tavern wench puffing stuff." And then she punches the shit out of him with, like, another, like, classic Supergirl type punch. So she knocks him pretty hard. We got a cool pose for Wolverine here. Again, like, I love this classic Wolverine pose. And he starts slashing as Wolverine tends to do. And we see that Saturag has one of the eyes of Agamotto, which, if you're not a Doctor Strange reader, which I like Doctor Strange, but I'm not, like, a huge Doctor Strange guy. Eye of Agamotto is, of course, a very powerful mystic weapon that Doctor Strange uses, but Saturag has a second one. And Rogue, after there's been a lot of fighting, Rogue's like, "Hey, Gambit, are you gonna, like, help?" And Gambit asks for an opening. So Wolverine and Rogue pose as a distraction. They pose as a distraction, which gives Gambit enough time to get the Eye of Agamotto, and he strikes a bargain with Saturag to leave and not cause any trouble, and he will give the Eye of Agamotto back later, which Saturag agrees, because if he doesn't, Gambit will blow it up. And Cedric, of course, doesn't want that because that is a main source of his power. So Cedric does leave, and we have this really romantic panel of Gambit holding Rogue. I really like this panel. Very well drawn, very romantic, very cute. I like this. Like I said, the art in this issue is really, really good. Then we have them sort of packing up, getting ready to go. We, of course, have Wolverine with the bottle that he got for winning that dare. Or not dare, but winning the bet with Miguel. And Rogue gets a call from who but Cyclops in Alaska. And he's saying that he has a special mission that he has to have Rogue for special request. And then halfway through the page, we get this sort of diversion into a whole different plot. We're in Oregon, I think. Yes, we're in Oregon, where this girl is being chased by these men. And it is quickly revealed that she is a mutant deer girl. She's being chased by these guys. And she fights them using her antlers. And then the next page, she unfortunately does get captured. Not by the guys who are chasing her, but by this mysterious creature who calls herself Mommy. So this will be relevant towards the end of the issue, and probably, I'm assuming, into the series. I mean, I have a feeling this is going to be probably an important villain throughout Gail Simone's run. Excited. Sort of reminds me thematically of Philip Kennedy Johnson's, not Mother Monster, but Mother of Monsters. So, I mean, I doubt that they're connected, but it does sort of remind me of that. And then we're in the University of Mississippi Medical Center. There's a hospital or medical center. We're in the University of Mississippi Medical Center. Mississippi, of course, being Rogue's home state. And they meet up with Nightcrawler. They meet up with Kurt. And they're talking about the patient. This is the mission that Cyclops sent them on. They're talking about this patient, Harvey X, who's a low-level precog and telepath who has specifically asked if he could see them. Wolverine, I think it is, or Gambit actually, compares it to like a Make-A-Wish. Are we Make-A-Wish mutants now? And the doctor tells him about how excited he is. And then next page, we get to see, and I think this is a beautiful sequence, we get to see Harvey, who's of course is very excited. We see a giant size, I don't know if y'all can see that, we see this giant size X-Men #1 poster in the back. Looks like maybe a Stark Sentinel with the X-Men toys. And he's ecstatic. He's so excited to see the X-Men. And even Logan has a bit of a smile across his face. Look at Gambit. Gambit's cheesing over here. And then he gets to meet Rogue, who he calls hot. And she says, along with probably most of the readership, well, he ain't wrong exactly. Nightcrawler gives him like the new X-Men jackets from the Morrison run. And then this is where it starts to really turn. And I think this page as a whole, or I think these two pages as a whole are great, so I'm just going to show them as a whole. But Rogue touches his hand. She talks about how cold it is. Wolverine mentions, he says, do you have a blue button, then press it, the kid's about to die. And then I told y'all he's a precog, right? So he's having like a seizure, and he says, let me get this right. He says, they're coming. You have to help them. One of them is the Endling. Okay, we don't know what the Endling is yet, but he says, they're coming. You have to help them. You have to help them. One of them is the Endling. So they're freaking out. Medical staff comes in to help Rogue and X-Men get ushered out of the door, or out of the room, I should say. And we have this very sad page where clearly there's been this very emotional toll. This has taken an emotional toll on Rogue, who, she's touching him, or she had just touched him when he has the seizure and dies. And that, of course, is very traumatic for Rogue as a character who, her power for so long was out of control that when she would touch people, she would hurt them. Recently, she's gotten more control of her power, but this is, of course, a very traumatic trigger for not only to have seen a kid die, but to have seen a kid die right after, or right as she was holding the kid's hand. So she's really going through it. They talk to the family. I don't know if y'all can see that. They talk to the family of the kid that just died, who were thankful. I thought that was good. I thought that was a sweet moment, not to have them, the parents, blame the X-Men. I was wondering if that would happen. But then we change setting again. Okay. Kurt stays, is going to help with the family. I don't know if he's coming back to the book or not. I think he is, but anyway, he stays, and then everyone else goes to Louisiana, which is, of course, Gambit's home state. They go to Louisiana to find somewhere else, to go somewhere else where there isn't trauma. At least for Rogue, I'm sure Gambit, of course, has some trauma there. But they go to Louisiana to escape. They don't actually say to escape. Let me see exactly. Rogue says that all she could think to do was run. She says, Remy, I just need somewhere so deep that grief can't find me. Okay, so that's what she says. She wants to go somewhere where grief can't find her. So they go to Louisiana. They listen to Delta Blues, which I thought was a nice little bit from Gail to include Delta Blues, which is, of course, from the Mississippi Delta, which is where Rogue is from. They go to Louisiana, where they meet up with Marquez. And then we get this campfire page where the X-Men are talking about all the stuff that they've been through, not just in this issue, but with Krakoa and everything. Rogue is talking about community and about trying to talk to her friends. She says she called Kitty Pryde, who did not take it very well. Read Exceptional X-Men by Eve Ewing for more about Kate's story. She talked to Cyclops. And Rogue says, no Scott, no Charles, no Kitty. How does it all end this way? Remy says, my love, maybe we aren't responsible for every weight ever loaded on the world. Maybe we live for a time without fighting. And Logan talks about how that's not really possible. And then Rogue, teary-eyed, she says, don't you know, because of the kid, because of Harvey. Rogue says, look at us. We have to have been made like this for a reason. Before the school, I had nothing. There has to be a purpose. I can't go back to that. I'll do this alone if need be. So she's talking about, Rogue is talking about that without Scott, without Charles, without Kitty, there is no school, but there has to be a school, because she remembers herself when she had nobody and it was terrible. She's saying that even if she has to do it alone, she will make a place for outcasts like her. And then they hear something in the woods. They hear someone say, help us, help us. And then we turn the page, the final page, and we have these new mutant kids that we've never seen before. They're asking for help. And this is very clearly to me, the people that Harvey was talking about, that the X-Men have to help, and that one of them is the Endling. So one of these kids, I'm assuming, is going to be the Endling, whatever the Endling is, and I guess we will see maybe some more about that, maybe not, in the next issue, which is coming out soon. So I'll talk to you guys when that comes out. Bye.